So I'll just give you a small recap what was covered on last class. Okay. Last class we started with the validation rules. Okay. What is validation rules? How to create the validation rules. Okay. And we created a simple validation rule. Okay. Let me just log into our arc. Okay. Basically, I'm opening up my application. So just to recap, validation rules are something like that. We are going to validate the data before we are going to save into the database so that we can always maintain the proper data in the database. So for example, if we try to create an account or update an account, if they missed some of the required things like type is one of the required field, they haven't given it, then you can throw the validation for them. The same way you can implement the validation rules for website. Like when they are creating the account, they have to provide the website. It's a very simply we can relate to other login registration forms, guys. So whenever we try to register for something, if we haven't filled some mandatory fields, then we will get validations, right? And sometimes it will not display like a mandatory, but we will get some messages saying that depending upon the values that we have given. So to achieve such kind of business scenarios, we use the validation rules. Okay. So how to implement the validation rules? We can implement these validation rules from the object manager. So always validation rules we are going to write object by object like other rules, like how we write the sharing rules. Validation rules also we will write object by object. So from the object manager, if I go to the account and there is an option validation rules. So this is the sample validation rule that we had created yesterday. So at the time of mentioning the validation rules, what we learned is we have to write the formula. So the major three parts of the formula is how to select a field, how to insert a operator. Okay, these are nothing but basic operators: add, subtract, multiply, less than, greater than, concatenations. Okay, and then we have some functions. So using these field operators and functions, we have to write the formulas. So what is this validation is whenever there is a type value, whenever we are creating an account, okay, whenever we are creating an account, one second, guys, just a second. Whenever we are, sorry guys, whenever we are creating an account, um, we are checking type value is selected or not, and also this value should be mandatory for the system administrator. So we just written formula like this. This was clearly explained in yesterday's class. Okay, so like this, if this condition satisfies, then it will display this message. Okay, that means this is the system administrator user and they haven't provided the type. So type is blank. In that case, it will display a message saying that please select type. Okay, like that we can write the formulas and we can display to the users. So the main use of the validation rules is that one only, guys. While we are capturing the information, we are displaying the messages to the users, and with that, users will always give you, I mean, so that you can store a proper, meaningful data into the database. Okay, that is the main agenda of the validation rules. So, one of the that is the sample validation, guys, but there is one important link. I will go through it. That is the link shared by the Salesforce. Okay. There is a help.salesforce.com. Basically, right? This will give you how to work with the formula fields. Okay. So there is a examples of validation rules. Okay. You can just go through these example. I'll go through one by one. Okay. After that, whenever you get some time, you can also go through one by one validation rules, so that if you are very comfortable and familiar with understanding these validation rules, the scenarios which are given here, then you can easily write validation rules in your art. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to understand clearly all these example validation rules that were written on the different objects. Here they said they have given the account object, right? It's the same way. The functionalities are same way. You can apply the same thing for the other objects also, depending on your requirements. Okay. So let me start with the first scenario. Okay. So the first scenario is validate the account billing zip or postal code in the correct format of billing country. Okay. Is Canada. Okay. So if the billing country is Canada, then the billing zip code should be, let us assume, this is something like that. If we are from India, then our mobile numbers code should start with +91, right? That is our code for India. In case of US, it's +1, I guess. Right? The same way, there is a difference in the postal codes also. Okay. So this is the scenario. They are asking us whenever they select the billing country, whenever they provide the billing country and postal code, we are validating did they provide the proper postal code which is respective to that particular country. Okay, that is the requirement. And you are aware of that, right? Billing country and postal codes, these are available on the account object. So let me open up one of the account record. Control F. So just to show you from the UI, whenever I am selecting some billing country, okay, for example, if I give United States or Canada or something, okay, here it has, I can give Canada also, okay. Then whenever I am providing my postal code, okay, now I should validate whatever the postal code which is present is valid for this Canada or not, okay. This is one of the example of the validation rule. So that we always make sure that the data which is given is correct data. Okay. So if you have such kind of scenario, then you need to write the validation rule like this. Okay. So how can we say billing country? Here it's a R condition, guys. Some companies they use CAN, Some companies they use CA. Some companies they directly write Canada. These are the three ways of representing the Canada country, right? So we are just saying if any of these values is given for the billing country, so this is our first criteria. Okay, but we have three type of billing countries, right? I mean, three ways we can represent Canada. So if any one of this is satisfied, then fine, we identify that is the Canada. That's the region we have given our condition. Okay, okay. Then second one is we are checking billing postal code. Okay, and billing postal code, and this is some rejects they have used, guys. This rejects is something like that Canada postal code must be in A9A or 9A9 format. Okay, that means it should start with a letter and end with a letter, or it should have character, sorry, number and end with a number. That is the Canada postal codes, guys. If it is starting with a character, then it should end with a character. If it is starting with a letter, then it should end with a letter. Okay. So this is the regex that will work this format for you. Okay. No need of remembering these rejects, guys, because generally whenever we get such kind of requirements, right? How to write a regex to validate Canada pin code. That is the Google search we will do and we will get these rejects. No need to hard code. I mean, no need to by heart it anyway. But you need to understand how they are checking or writing this formula. Okay. So finally, what this regex will do is it will just check whether the billing code is in this format or not. Okay. If it is Canada and if it is not in this format, okay. If it is not in this format, then we are going to display an error message saying that Canadian postal code must be in A9A or 9A9 format. Okay. So is it clear, guys? Are any questions on this formula? Leave about this regex, okay? This and condition, how they applied our condition, not condition. Any questions? Okay. Then we will just see the another one. Billing zip code is in billing state. Okay. So uh, this is something like that. Previously, like postal code and billing state, Canada and billing state, billing postal code, I mean, billing postal code we had verified in previous scenario. They are on same object they are providing, guys. Okay. In this scenario, I mean, there is no zip code stored and all. That's the reason we just used regex to identify the format. But in this case, what they are saying is already you have zip codes as a separate object. Okay. So zip code object has two names. One is city and another one is the name. Okay. Okay. So in this case, zip code is a separate object and we are writing the validation rule on account object. Okay. This is the example that how can you access other object in Salesforce. Okay. For example, if you want to access if you want to access zip code object, okay, zip code object from the account object, then how can you use it? That is the example of this validation rule. Okay, there is the thing object type zip code, and zip code if you want to access the fields of zip code. Okay, and you have VLOOKUP. So we are going to the zip code fields and we are going to the city field. This city, okay, let me just prepare one Excel for you so that you can easily understand how a zip code looks like, zip code table looks like. Okay, so city and name. Okay, so city and name are the two fields here. So this is something like that. For example, in the US, we have different states, right? Different places. Instead of states, I can say different cities. New York. Let us assume it has some zip code. I'm just giving some sample zip codes, guys. Okay. And then Mexico. Okay. Um, New Jersey. Los Angeles. Okay. Let us assume like this, there is a zip codes table, guys. Okay. So my requirement is something like that. What is the validation that like this we have maintained a zip codes table separately. So whenever we are entering, selecting a New York City, then we should identify whether the given zip code is exactly same as this zip code or not. Okay, that is the validation actually customers is requesting us. Okay, if I enter the New York City, then I should enter the value of 544,090. In case of Mexico City, then I should enter the zip code value of 546,789. If I haven't entered this zip code value, okay, then it should throw the validation. Okay. So for that, this is the actual scenario. For this, they have written this one. Okay. So what we are going to do it here is, it's a lookup field, guys. We look up. So using this we look up. we are going to look up for the cities and we are going to get the names, that is our zip codes, and we are going to get first 5 characters of the building postal code, that is our postal code, first 5 characters. So here we are going to learn about the new function, left function, guys. Okay, left is the one of the function which gives you how many number of digits that you would like to get from a string. Okay, if you want to get left 3 digits, 3, and if you want to get left 5 digits, 5, 1 digit, 1. Okay, that is some like that. It applies for strings also, guys. First character, 2 characters, 3 characters, 4 characters, 5 characters, 6 characters, like whatever the value you mentioned here. The same from, there is a function of right also. Okay, right will get a values, that many number of position values from the right to left. Left will left to right. Okay, so this billing zip code not equals to billing city. So whatever the city which is selected, okay, we are going to get 5 digits of the zip codes. Okay, then basically, guys, here they are saying 5 digits, right? So in the table, they always store 5 digit values. Okay. So we are going to get first 5 digits is not equals to billing city. Okay. So this will give you like this particular billing city, billing postal code is not equals to whatever the postal code which is stored on the zip code object. Okay. This is how you need to write the validation in case the zip codes are stored in different places. Okay. If we don't find anything also, in case every time whenever we feel null or not equals to is something like that, it will satisfy all the times except if it equals to. That means if it find the match, then it will not fire this validation. If it don't find the match, then it will fire the validation. That is our requirement. Okay. And it's again another thing is something like that. There is a special zip code, guys. If this is going to be either this one, this format or this format, like either 5 digit or 5 digit hyphen 4 digit format. Okay, in case of US, then it's again a regex. You can use it. I don't think there's no new functionalities that I can see here. So we can just skip that one. Okay. Then the next one is the shipping zip code. Okay. So this is the way validates the account shipping zip code in this format. Okay. So here I'm just, I would like to discuss you because it contains some other functions also. Okay. So here what they are checking is, here they are writing different and conditions, guys. Okay. So the first and condition is there are different scenarios, right? First of all, zip code is 5 digits or it is 10 digit. Okay. In case of 5 digit, they entered. Okay. It's a format. It can be a 5 digit format, or in case if it's not the 5 digit format, then it should have a format of this one. In case of 10 digit, it should be 5 digit hyphen 4 digit. Okay. So here they are checking is, this is our condition. they are checking shipping country equals to USA or is blank of shipping country. Okay, that means for the ESA or USA or is blank of the shipping country. So let us assume it's USA value we received. So, and then they are checking length of the shipping postal code. So, as per our requirement, okay, the length of the postal shipping code, if it should be 5 or it should be 10, right? If it's not equals to 5 or if it's not equals to 10, then that is the case, we need to write the validation rules, right? So that's the reason they have written here. In these two conditions, okay, in these two conditions, length of the shipping postal code not equals to 5, length of the shipping postal code not equals to 10. Okay. And then again, it not contains, okay, generally, whenever you have seen this kind of things, guys, just try to evaluate the inner one first. So, shipping postal code, left of shipping postal code, comma 1. So, what it will do? It will first get the first character of the shipping postal code. Okay. And we are checking that first character contains this string. Okay. Contains this comma shipping postal code. Okay. What it will do is, for example, if I give 5, obviously this digit contains 5, right? So then it will return true. Okay. If it contains true, then it will return true. Okay. So the same way in case of 5, we are checking all the 5 characters, guys. Okay. Left of 1, mid function, mid of 2 comma 1. That means it will get the second one. Mid of 1 comma 3, mid of 1 comma 4, mid of 1 comma 5. Okay. So um this is going to get this is going to validate all the 5 values. Okay. If any of the number is not the number, so generally using contains, we are checking that one only. The value which is present in the first position, second position, third position, fourth position, fifth position. Okay. So all these position values, okay, is contains number or not. Okay. That is what we have verified here. In the same way, next down one is also same. It looks like a big formula, guys. Okay. But it's not, it's easy formula only. The ultimately what we are doing is we are getting one by one. First, we are checking if the shipping postal code length is 5 or not 10. In case if it's not 5 or 10, we directly we are going to display a message. Zip code must be in this 5-digit or 10-digit format. Okay, that will say execute. Okay, and again, when this error message should display, if they haven't entered the 5-digit code, they entered some alpha, like some characters in the zip code. That is the time if I want to display a message. So I need to get one by one position and I need to verify whether it is a number or not, right? So for that, actually, they have written this complete formula. Okay. Here they have used three functions, guys, that are new to you. One is length function. So this will give you how many characters which is present. And another one is mid function. Okay. Mid function will give you like that particular position value. Okay. Sixth position value. From the sixth position, how many values you would like to get? That is the second parameter. Okay. And contains function. Contains function is something like that. You are going to check this first string contains the value of the second string or not. Okay. So that is the mid function, length function, contains functions. These are the three functions that we have in Salesforce. Okay. Guys, my major goal to explain you this thing is my major motto of this is you should know about different functionalities that are available, functions that are available to use in the validation rules. Okay, and how those functions work, how you can write and how you can write are. Okay, how you can use not function. That is my motto. I'm not expecting you to write these validations your own, guys. My only motto is you should be in a position to understand at least about these functions. Okay, how to use these functions and what is the functionality of each and every function that is used in the validation rule. Okay, that is the only motto. I'm not expecting you to write your own validation rule by thinking this much of complicated validation rules. No. Even in your projects, when you started also, if you Google it, guys, by giving the scenario and if you Google it, you will get the answer. But you should be in a position to identify, okay, this is the answer, this will work. That is possible if you know how these functions will behave. What is the use of each and every function? Okay. So to understand that, use of each and every function, we are going through these sample validation rules. Okay. So any questions on the validation rules till we discussed? You are not able to understand about any functions that we discussed like length, mid, contains, left, right. Not is just reversing the values. Okay. So this is again validating the billing state, guys. Okay. Like billing country is US. If billing state should contain any one of these are the state codes, guys. Okay. For example, for India, how we have IN, right? The same way. They have some codes. VT is for Vietnam and NJ, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, NY. Okay. MI for Michigan. Like that, they have their own states and these are their state codes. Okay. In case if you want to write a formula on the billing country to validate the billing state code, okay, then this is how you can write it. I don't see any new functions here, guys. I can just see in case if it's US and billing country is USA and billing state is less than 2 and not contains any of these values, we are going to show them billing state is required and it should be valid 2-digit code. Okay. And validates the billing state two characters abbreviation of billing countries. This is also, it's the same guys. So I'm not going to explain. I'm going to check is there any validation rules that is having any new functionalities. Okay. This is also having same functions. So you can go through it. No need to explain me. Okay. So why always billing countries, states, and postal codes? These are only checking in the validation rules because whatever the validation rules that we are seeing is the sample validation rule on the address fields. So basically on the address fields, these type of validations they will ask you to make the given address is correct. Okay. Apart from that, if I go to some other type of validation rules, so sample account validation rules. So this is the some simple rules compared to the those you will feel these are the simple rules. Okay, it's something like that. Account number is numeric. Okay, so if I give the account number, we have the account number field on the account, right? We need to, whenever they are entering the account number value, we need to check whether they have entered a numeric value or not. Okay, that is the case. We can simply write this one. So the first condition is blank of account number. If that satisfies, or if it's not the number. Okay. In these two cases, any of these cases satisfied, then we need to show the error message. That's the reason here R condition. R condition is something like that. Any one of these condition is satisfies, then display an error message. If they don't give the account number should be the numeric. That means they have to provide some numeric value. So if they don't give any number, how can we can check that? We can use is blank. Using is blank function, we can check whether the given number is blank or not. Blank is nothing but they haven't filled anything. Okay. And then each number. Each number will return true in case the given value is number. Okay, that is one of the function, guys. Each number of if you give certain field, if you give some character values inside that field, then it will just display each number false. Okay, whenever it displays, if you give proper number value, then this will return true and automatically true, not false. Okay, obviously whenever this is false, then it will not display any message, guys. Whenever this condition is satisfies, that means whenever this condition returns true, then only it will display the error messages. In case if I give the number value, so each number is true. Okay. And obviously it is a not. That means whenever it is a number, then not will always return the true. Okay. Each number true and not will always return the false. So in case if you give the number, this condition will become false. So when this condition is false, it should not fire the validation rule. So it will not fire the validation rule. In case if it's not a number, the given value, then this condition will become true. Then it will fire the validation rule. Okay. To understand about how R works, how not works, how each blank works, this is the one of the best and easiest example, guys. Okay. And then we are just checking account number length. Okay. We have given the account number and the account number should be 7-digit. If it's not the 7-digit length, we need to display the error message. Okay. So This is the one. You can just remember these scenarios also, guys. Okay. Because in the interviews, they will ask you, can you explain me some samples that you have implemented in your project? Some sample validation rules. It's not always they'll ask like this, but sometimes they will ask, can you explain some sample validation rules? Then you can take these validation rules as the examples. Okay. Because these are common and these are the validation rules that we implemented in almost all the projects. You can just change it as a 7 digit to 10 digit. Okay. Okay. Then number length and annual revenge range. Okay. This is something like that. So we are going to give the annual revenue. Annual revenue is also again a field on the account object. Okay. So this is the amount field. So we are checking the revenue that is given should not should not exceed 100 billions, and it should not be minus also. Obviously, the revenue should be zero or something, right? So uh, whenever we give more than 100 billion value, then we are going to display the error message saying that annual revenue cannot exceed 100 billions. Okay. So these three are very simple validation rules, guys. You try in your R, you have account number field. Okay. You have annual revenue field. You try in your arc and you just try to configure the error message like this and try to create the records by giving some values which are not satisfying these criteria. Then you can easily understand how a validation rules will file. Okay. Um, so next thing is some call center validation rules. Okay. Call center validation rules is nothing but the validation rules which we are going to write on K subject, guys. Okay. So here they are saying that whenever you are selecting the region as others, okay, basically we will be having a set of regions, right? Maybe hardware failure, software failure, installations, and sometimes some people tell this is not my problem. My problem is totally different. Then we always have the other option, right? So whenever the region is other, there is another field, other region. We have to fill that other region into a separate field. Okay. If that is not filled, then we have to stop the users, because if that is not filled, if they simply select the other, then we can't understand, right? What is their problem? Why they have raised a case? So to understand that thing, they have to fill the other region in case of the select other. How can we do that? This is, we can write the validation like this. Okay. By writing the validation like this, we can restrict that one. Whenever the region is other selected, they have to provide the other region. Okay. So another important scenario is prevent open cases being reset to new. Okay. Basically, whenever a case gets new, that is the whenever a fresh case gets created, the status is always new. After that, it can move to other statuses, right? Like working, waiting for feedback, waiting for customer acknowledgement. Like that, it will move. Once the status is moved from new to something else, again, if I'm trying to put my status back to new, then obviously we shouldn't, right? We shouldn't allow the users to do that action unknowingly. I mean, there are multiple times we feel like that. Obviously, right? People should aware of that. They should. I mean, nothing will go back from some progressing to new. How they will change the values? Never think about that, guys. The people who are working with the um in front of computers, right? they always love to play with the applications that is designed by developers. Okay, they'll do that actions and they'll tell, no, we are not aware of the. I mean, when we ask this question, now, see, that is common, right? Basically, anything is in progress. How can it move back to new? I mean, it will not happen in the real time scenarios like that. We ask them, but they immediately say that I have the ability to move it back. That's the reason I moved it back. That is just simply they are playing with our application. Okay. It's not following the process. There are people they play with the applications. Okay. So to avoid such kind of persons, uh, we always make sure that we have proper validations in place so that they can move back. Obviously, if something is in progress, how can you move back again into new, right? So this is something we are checking. Status is changed and prior value of the status is not new. Okay. That means whatever the status you are changing, okay, that value. For example, I have changing from processing to new. Okay, that means what is my prior value? Prior value is processing. What is my new value that I would like to place is new. Okay, that means I'm trying to change something to new. That should not be possible. Only in the case that you will not fire the validation is if you change new to new. Okay, that's it. Apart from any other thing, if you try to change, then we are going to display an error message. Okay. The same way, guys, validate that the case status is reopened when a case is opened again. Okay. So prior value is something like that. Whatever the value that we have in the I mean, let me tell you. Let me show you the example. Okay. For example, type, right? So when I select prospect, right, the prior value becomes none and the current value prospect. Okay. If I select prospect, before clicking on save, the prior value is none and the current value is prospect. Okay. I'm going to give industry save. Okay. Now again, if I try to edit it and try to select customer channel, the prior value of this type field is prospect and the current value of this type is customer channel. Okay. That is something. So prior value of status is something like that. At the time of saving the record, whenever you are clicking on the save button, okay, what is present in the database already? Okay. What is the new value that you are planning to save? Okay. What is the new value that you are planning to save will become the current value. And what is the value which was already present in the database? That is nothing but the prior value. Okay. So this is something like that. We are changing the status. Okay. And which is already closed. That means previous value is closed. Then the new value should be reopened. You can't put closed one to the new one again. Okay. Obviously, this case is worked on and closed. And again, you want to open it. Then you have to make it as a reopen. You can't make it as a just open or something like that. That is the validation. And let me discuss about these two validations also, guys, quickly. Only one validation I. Okay. Prevent case milestones after cases are closed. Okay. That means whenever, I mean, once the case is closed, then you can't complete a milestone after a case is closed. That means you can't edit anything. If it is closed a case, you can't edit anything. That's it, simply. So whenever you are trying to do something, you are trying to save it, it will throw the validation. So case is closed equals to true. Okay. And you are trying to do something, then it always throw you a validation saying that you can't edit the record, you can't edit the record, you can't edit the record. Okay. You can reopen it and then edit it. This is something like that comparing guys. So we have um case milestone completion date before the like case creation dates. There is a case milestone dates. Okay, we can select on this date I have completed the milestone. Okay. Um, did I explain you entitlements and milestones, guys? I remember I have explained it. Yes, I have explained it when I am explaining about the case management, guys. I remembered it. Okay. So and there is a milestone date, milestone completion date that we can select. And whenever we are selecting that date, we just need to make sure that it should be greater than created date and it should be greater than, I mean, less than close date, that milestone. Okay. In such scenarios, we are going to give this kind of validation rules. Okay. These, so guys, you no need to write the validation rules. Call center validation rules. Okay. So simple account validation rule is something like that. You can just try to implement on the account object. And call center validation rules. This is nothing but the validation rules that you can write on the case object. Okay. So account object, case object validation rules, you can do it. And in tomorrow's class, I'll explain about the rest of the objects validation rules also. But make sure that you can go through these address validation rules anyway. You can just understand it. No need to practice it, guys, because real time scenarios, obviously, um we will, I mean, there are less scenarios that we will use it, but more times we will use the case validation rules and account validation rules. Okay. So make sure that how to access these things is you can go to the Google. Otherwise, let me place this one into our drive. We have assignments, right? I'm going to add validation rules also there. I know you guys completed these assignments and you are about to complete the sharing settings assignment, guys. Okay. I know you are all from break, so you can just resume your things. You can watch the videos and you can finish that sharing settings assignment, and simultaneously you can just go through these validation rules also. So today I have explained the first three things, guys. Account address validation rules, account validation rules, call center validation rules. So call center validation rules are nothing but the contact validation rules. I just given this link so you can easily understand. Okay. So you can try to practice account validations and call center validation rules. And if you have any questions, you can ask me in the tomorrow's class. Okay. So if you have any questions, you can stay